Well, hey there, it's Pastor Tim Zook from Forks Community Church. You know, as we approach Thanksgiving this year, I think we all acknowledge that 2020 has been a rough year. And with Thanksgiving just a little bit more than a week away, maybe some of us are feeling, maybe we're thinking, I don't know if there's a whole lot to be thankful for. Listen, I get it. I'm not going to make you feel bad for feeling that way. In fact, a couple weeks ago, there was some road construction taking place out here in front of the office at the major intersection. And as I was walking home for lunch, I noticed that the road crew had a warning sign out there. And the warning sign said, "Rough road." And I thought, what a perfect description for the year 2020. This year has been a rough road for us all. It's been a year filled with delays, a year filled with disruptions and all sorts of detours that we've never really experienced in any other year before. Now, I don't know about you, but when I encounter those rough roads in life, whether I look back at my life at some key moments or even right now, or I'm sure even ahead, there are times when I've wondered, as I'm going through those rough times, God, why don't you just pull me out? Why don't you just pull me out of those rough times? And that's a fair question. It's a very fair question. We've all been there. We've all had those moments where we're like, God, and maybe you don't even believe in God, but maybe you're thinking, God, even if you exist, would you just pull me out of this rough time? And it's a fair question. Why doesn't God pull us out of every difficulty? Now, that's a question that the Bible addresses. My first job, out of culinary school, I went to culinary school. I got an associate's degree. And so my first job out of culinary school, I was working as a sous chef. Now with that job came a lot of responsibility. And every day for like the first 6 months, I went into work just feeling stressed because I had a lot of responsibility and I wanted to perform well. I didn't want to get fired from my very first job as I was starting my career as a chef. And many times I'm sure I prayed, God, just pull me out. Just pull me out of this rough time. Well, here's what happened. God didn't pull me out of that job, but he did pull me through. And I think that's a great thought to remember as we think about these rough roads that we encounter in life, that if we're a follower of Jesus, God doesn't always promise to pull us out of the rough roads, but he does promise to pull us through. And here's what I learned about that rough road, that brief moment in my career as a chef, as I was working as a sous chef. I learned that God often uses those rough roads in our lives to smooth out our rough edges. We all have rough edges. None of us are perfect. None of us have arrived. And as followers of Jesus, we know that God is using the circumstances in this life to make us more and more like Jesus. And so, yes, has 2020 been a rough year? It has. But I think one of the things that God is how he is using this pandemic is to kind of show us those rough edges and to also smooth out those rough edges. I love the perspective that James encourages us to adopt. James is this small letter in the New Testament, and James chapter 1, verses 2-4 provides for us a perspective to adopt as we go through these rough times. James chapter 1, verses 2-4 says this: "Consider it a great joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing." In other words, James is saying, hey, don't pull out of this, but let endurance have its full effect. God's going to pull you through this. And one of the things that God is going to do during these rough times is he's going to make us to better people, to more mature followers of Jesus. You know, maybe you're not one who believes in God. Maybe you're one who's questioning whether God exists. And maybe you're looking at this time as thinking, there's no way God is in this. There's no way God could be behind this. You know, what is God up to if he exists? Well, I think one of the things that God is up to, as I've said, is he's using these rough times to smooth out our rough edges. So the next time you find yourself on a rough road of life, know that God is up to something good. Trust in him to pull you through that rough road with an attitude of gratitude.